video. Before I get started, as always, let's cue my guy Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black View Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe it was blacker investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting, so we binge on our blacker investing. Best believe it was blacker investing. Got course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that blacker investing. Best believe it was blacker investing.
What is going on, people? I already see what's up, HBCU Maker. What's up, Todd Malik? Let's get going. What's up, Black Root Crew? What's up, Crypto Warriors? Happy Saturday to everyone. Let me share the screen here. What's up, Crypto Work? Let's get into it here, y'all. So, big news today. What can BlackRock Bitcoin ETF really mean for crypto? So, let's break that down. There is a BlackRock ETF that's been proposed, okay, in which Coinbase will do custody for, in which BlackRock will have a Bitcoin ETF, okay. So, what can this mean for crypto? So, let's break down a little bit. Let's go into the article a little bit. And this is from Reuters. They do stock news. Here we go. So, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust will use Coinbase custody as its custodian because we know BlackRock and Coinbase, they have a relationship. And, BlackRock also has a relationship with the World Economic Forum. So we already know that. So moving on. According to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the U.S. regulator has yet to approve any applications for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And about that, shout out to the Telegram. There are links in the description. If you're not already in the Telegram, it's totally free. Some peeps in the Telegram were mentioning they have not yet approved a Bitcoin ETF yet. Wrong Telegram. So shout out to the Telegram. I know a few of you are already in it. So yeah, for any new people, it's totally free. There's the Telegram. Why take on the crypto world by yourself when you can have people take it on with you? And if you want to step up from there, you got the Patreon, totally less than a cup of coffee for the Patreon. Check that out. Links are in the description for that as well. But moving on. So they've yet to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF for anyone. Grayscale has tried and has not been improved. I believe it mentions that in the article here. So we go down. There we go. SEC rejected Grayscale Investments LLC's application last year to convert its flagship spot Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETF. Okay. So Grayscale has been doing this for a while. Basically, how they figured out how to get around it was to have this kind of on the pink sheets on the penny stocks sheets as a trust. But now that things have been changing and that there are like ETFs for Bitcoin stocks out there, Grayscale thought that they would possibly be able to turn their trust into an ETF, but they keep getting rejected by the SEC. Okay. Chances are that the SEC is not going to reject BlackRock, but we can get into that a little bit more later. Here's the really big sentence coming up here. Okay. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, we'll get to those in the end. Just put them in the chat there. Okay. But But here's the very important part. A spot Bitcoin ETF would track Bitcoin's underlying market price. Proponents say that an ETF would give investors exposure to Bitcoin without directly buying it. Now, as how my show started, I don't know if you guys know this, is like I was heavy more into stock. Now I moved over to the crypto world because you get more bang for your buck in crypto. And they always have like, okay, proponents like it's a good thing. You can get exposure to Bitcoin, an asset that's highly volatile, without directly buying it. What I've now known this phrase to be is actually what it really says is that they, BlackRock, can get exposure to Bitcoin and like manipulate the price. That's just really what it means. So it could be kind of concerning. They are going to, if they get this, they would, that would mean that they would purchase Bitcoin and kind of they would put it into this ETF, right? However, it's going to be like basically a derivative. Instead of directly buying Bitcoin, people are going to buy this ETF. Um, so it gives BlackRock the ability to manipulate Bitcoin. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword for crypto, because one, BlackRock will be buying Bitcoin. Two, they will be able to manipulate Bitcoin. And three, like people who are buying the ETF, instead of buying Bitcoin, they would be buying the ETF. Okay. And that ETF, just like kind of our cash right now, they would be buying Bitcoin, but they can't like redeem the ETF for Bitcoin. Like they're only buying the right for BlackRock to hold it for them. So truly, it's a double-edged sword. Um, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. So basically, they're creating a derivative on Bitcoin, and instead of owning Bitcoin itself, like people will be buying BlackRock's ETF. So the way I see it is kind of a double-edged sword for Bitcoin. They can now really kind of control the price with their ETF. Um, Let me know what you guys think out there in the crowd or in the comments. So I'm a little torn with it. Um, yeah, I'm a little torn with it. So there's one part of this that I said I'd get to later. Uh, I forgot. But anyways, let's see what we have as far as comments go here. How do you think this is going to impact the previous institutions that were denied? Um, okay, yes, that's what I was going to get on. Um, I think the previous institutions may be accepted, but the reason why SEC denied Grayscale is because the SEC, really, the SECs are boys with companies like BlackRock. Because remember, I told you guys, no matter who the president is, they have someone from BlackRock on their treasury, controlling the U.S. Treasury. And we already know that the Fed is actually a private bank. It's not federal at all. It's not the Federal Reserve. It's a private bank controlled by, a family, right? So the SEC, it's kind of like, okay, they're the exchange commission, but who's really controlling them? That's the thing, right? And if we know that no matter who the president is, someone from like the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, is going to be a BlackRock person, then what we could say is we could allude to, or we could say that BlackRock's really the one in control, right? So it makes sense to me that the SEC would reject Grayscale because BlackRock was going to eventually do it. They're not going to let them get ahead of BlackRock. They're not going to let them get, ahead of the people who are actually controlling them. Like, okay, no, you can't now because we're going to do it. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're not going to let you get a leg up on us. We're going to do it first. So then maybe we'll let you after that, maybe. But this really signals to me they're probably going to let BlackRock do it because the SEC ultimately is controlled by BlackRock, because BlackRock, no matter who the president, has fingers on the U.S. Treasury. So hence, probably BlackRock's going to be able to do this. So I would not be surprised at all if this goes through for BlackRock, because ultimately BlackRock's the one in control, the one in charge. And behind BlackRock, we have the WEF, right? So Bitcoin prices kind of rose as a result of this announcement, because, of course, this does mean that BlackRock, if it gets accepted, will buy Bitcoin. But what that also means is there will be a Bitcoin derivative in which they can control and manipulate the price of Bitcoin. So that's kind of what that is. Just like we know with Grayscale's what is it? Their ETH, I think they have an ETH trust as well. They were kind of manipulating with that one as well. So so what this means for those type of people that have been denied, perhaps they get in, but I doubt they get in until BlackRock feels comfortable that they've set up enough manipulation, if that makes sense. So if BlackRock gets accepted, then maybe down the line, Grayscale can come into. But yeah, I doubt they get in at the same time as a BlackRock does. Like, it might be a little bit down the line where BlackRock feels like they have a sufficient amount of control. So immediately, I don't think that Grayscale gets accepted if BlackRock gets accepted, but I do believe that they're going to accept BlackRock because ultimately the SEC is controlled by BlackRock. BlackRock can get Gensler up out of there too. That's the very strange part of it, right? And we kind of went over this on Thursday, right? Why is the U.S. not innovating with crypto? They innovate with everything else, right? Um, the U.S. isn't really innovating with crypto because they want ETH to be the leaders, right? Um, Ethereum is controlled ultimately by JP Morgan, right? Because JP Morgan is the money man behind Consensus, and Consensus is the coders for Ethereum and MetaMask. Okay. So that's why we see things like MetaMask not supporting Russia, or, preventing sanctions to Russia, like, because MetaMask, they're under BlackRock control, right? Um, so that's why we see things like, let me just go ahead and pull that up just in case anybody missed it. APM leaves. So the reason why they left the R3 consortium with R3 Cordia is because they had Ethereum under control. So that's why we see something like the SEC suing Ripple because they don't want anything in America to have a bigger hold than Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is JP Morgan Chase, and JP Morgan Chase is big buddies with BlackRock. So you can kind of think of them almost as the same entity, right? So Ethereum, they want that to be kind of the leading thing in America, it seems. Okay. By America's leading bank, JP Morgan Chase. So, of course, again, they don't want Grayscale to have a Bitcoin ETF. It makes a whole bunch of sense now because now BlackRock is going to actually have that Bitcoin ETF. So BlackRock will be able to control the price of Bitcoin as it comes to the American stock market. If that all makes sense. Sounds like they can only control what they own because Bitcoin is global. Well, exactly, Kurt work. Like, but they can have a greater control of the price of Bitcoin in America because it's the American stock market. So that's kind of how that works. I'm not sure about their hash power, but you can kind of see with how many American companies are mining Bitcoin, they have a better control over hash power, as in like the big boys are kind of mining Bitcoin now, like all the people who are kind of in all the big corporations, and it's no longer kind of in the hands of the people, if that makes sense. Because really, it was ultimately a huge threat to have people mining Bitcoin and people having the control of being able to possibly make money, right? Because the big innovation of crypto is that people can now print money and have it be worth something. When really that was only something that elites could do, the elite of the elite that were in control of governments, right? And now you got this thing, Bitcoin, where normal people are out here, like engineers are out here mining it and having it be something that's in the hands of the people, right? So in come these corporations like a Hut, like a Marathon, like a Riot blockchain, and like all of the different companies, or yeah, all the different mining companies across the world, in China and Bhutan, right? Bhutan was secretly mining it, and nobody knew. So now the control is more in the hands of these people. So they're trying to soak up as much Bitcoin as they can because they know they can't stop it, right? Um, and now you have all of these different organizations, a lot of them being like American organizations, also mining Bitcoin, like Riot Blockchain, like CleanSpark, like Bit Farms, right? Or in some instances, you have people just straight up buying it, like MicroStrategy, right? Or Tesla, right? So the the threat of Bitcoin is real, which is why you got real life companies like this buying it and owning it and mining it. Um, but there's still shenanigans that they can do to control it, like BlackRock having a Bitcoin ETF and controlling the price there. It's kind of, and I know King and Zay have mentioned this before too. It's just like the gold ETFs, right? Like they create all these derivatives, and you're buying, and people, not you specifically, but people are buying these derivatives instead of owning the underlying thing, right? Now that may seem a little hypocritical in what I'm saying because I'm buying CleanSpark, um, but ultimately the plan for CleanSpark is, I know it has a bigger X than Bitcoin. It's to get that X, convert all of that over to Bitcoin. So I get more bang for my buck in that way. Okay. So, but ultimately it's to own Bitcoin. Okay. So just to clear that up. Yes, BlackRock is global too, but it seems like their reach, as far as what the WEF wants, is for them to kind of be America leaders. But yes, they are global. And they have global ETFs and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think the deal there is for BlackRock to control it in America. Also, do you think China and BRICS are going to deal with this? Personally, I think within a 90-day time frame, it's going to be a digital asset war that's going to send Bitcoin coins and altcoin stocks skyrocketing. It's funny you mentioned that, HBCU maker, and we kind of been over it a little bit, right? And it's a lot to correlate. It's a lot of data to correlate. But what it seems like to me is certain areas is going to be in charge of certain things, right? Because it's a huge digital landscape. There are tons of different currencies out there. So you kind of have to have people be in charge of certain things in certain places. So the way it seems like things are moving towards a digital asset reset, a great reset of money, okay, to digital assets, okay. Bitcoin obviously is going to be global, which is why we have all these different companies mining it, which is why they kind of say it's going to be a commodity, right? Like the CFTC has already said that Bitcoin is going to be a commodity. And what's going to happen there? Remember, I keep bringing this up to you guys. In 2025, like they word it really tricky, but what it really says is in 2025, January 1st, central banks globally can buy crypto. So they can buy that as if it's gold, as if it's an asset, a reserve asset. So literally, these central banks could buy Bitcoin, can buy XRP, can buy Quant as if they are gold or silver. Okay. So there's that. Right underneath that is, it seems like the digital yuan is moving into a way better place than the digital dollar would be. It just seems that way. And as we know, everything has cycles, right? The Bitcoin has a cycle of every 4 years, which just happens to be um, synced up with presidential cycles, right? Every 4 years we elect a president. Um, Bitcoin is on that presidential election cycle, which I'm sure that's not a coincidence, right? Um, money, money, they say has a cycle of about every 40 years. Um, um, our US dollar has been around for about 52 years. It's been about 52 years, again, and that's another cycle, 52, right? There are 52 weeks in a year. It's been about 52 years since Richard Nixon said, "Hey, we're off a gold standard." So it's been 52 years since that. So the US dollar has reached its point where its cycle needs to cycle out as being the dominant currency in the world. So in comes the digital yuan, and the digital yuan seems to be what's next, right? And we chronicled that in so many different ways by just showing you how different companies up to like 2 years ago are saying, hey, we're getting into things in Asia. We're doing payment solutions in Asia. Why are they doing that? Because it seems like that's where the money revolution is heading, so that digital yuan is the top currency in the world. Coincidentally, the next Davos meeting is going to be held in China. Weird, very weird, right? And we're supposed to, China's quote unquote the enemy or whatever, right? Summer Davos Forum to be held in Tianjin. I hope I'm saying that right. So that's going to be held in China. I mean, the all the tea leaves are there. People can keep thinking if they want to that Russia versus China versus G7 or whatever. But really, like, all of these dudes are in it together. I don't know if it's a global power struggle more than it's just cycles, and the American dollar is cycling out, and the digital yuan and digital currency is cycling in. It was the American dollar and gold. Now it's going to be digital funds and the yuan. Like, that's what it seems like. Gold and silver and the dollar, the petrodollar, are cycling out into digital assets, and the yuan. That's what it seems like. Because when you really look at it, Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of them. Litecoin, there's only 84 million of them. Gold and silver are always being mined, right? So there's only so far that those can go. Whereas Bitcoin and Litecoin are deflationary. Like, people are always losing their keys. They're always losing track of it, whatever. So really, 21 million cap it's actually lower than that when you count that people lose their keys and all of this different other stuff. So really, it's like maybe what, 18, and you take into account that the halving cycle's there, so not all of it has been mined yet. Then you got assets like Litecoin and Bitcoin that central banks are acquiring that will be eventually probably worth way more than gold and silver, or gold and silver. So, like, all that writing is there in my eyes. I don't know. But I'm giving you guys the news articles. I'm giving you guys all the different information. So it's not just like my opinion. I don't know if y'all watch Big Lebowski. If y'all have ever seen that movie, and he's like, well, that's just like your opinion, man. But this is not so it's not just my opinion. I'm giving you guys all the different news articles so you can form your own conclusion from that. And I am very interested in hearing what you guys think. Hence, we got the Telegram, which I check all the time. So, like, I love to hear from you guys. I love to hear what you're thinking there too. BlackRock can get Gensler up out of here. The more I look at Gensler, it's like I feel he's serving a purpose, just like Sam Bankman-Fried, right? Like, you listen to Sam, and it's so clear that Sam wasn't doing that. Like, my man's, he did not seem, quote unquote, he didn't seem smart enough. Like, I get that he was like an MIT guy, but even BitBoys said it before. Like, he's a finance guy. Like, it didn't seem like he was like this crypto mastermind. He was a finance guy. You know what I mean? So it's really seeming to me like Gary Gensler is just serving his role. So like, do we really think that Gary's more powerful than BlackRock? Like, this one lone guy, they can't control him when these guys control things all over the world? And the fact that this guy was an and I know Bitcoin Zay has mentioned this before. He's an MIT professor. He taught crypto at MIT. So it's really not too hard to believe. Like, he doesn't understand what he's doing, and he doesn't understand the value of crypto. Seems to me like this dude's playing a role. It seems like that. I know people don't want to touch that, or that's like tinfoil hat or whatever, but it seems to me like the dude's playing a role. It just seems like that. And this dude's former Goldman Sachs. Wait, where have we seen Goldman Sachs before? Oh, R3 Cordia. They're on board with that digital blockchain. And I know how they try to separate blockchain and crypto and all this stuff, like it's not the same thing, but it seems like they're in on a certain bit of it because the central banks, again, are going to buy crypto in 2025. So seems like there's a little bit more than meets the eye there. Oh, and R3 Cordia, like how can you kind of get exposure to that? XDC is the settlement coin for them. So there's exposure right there. So like the more and more I look at Gensler, seems to me like my man's playing a role. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Yeah, it's going to be an epic bull run. Epic bull run. Again, 2025 is when they're buying. And then we got the halving in 2024. And then we got the presidential election in 2024. Just is really lining up to be quite the bull run. So again, with central banks buying 2% globally, we know that's a whole bunch of new money that's going to be flooded right into the market come 2025. They're going to be buying these assets and holding them diamond hands, right? Oh man, that's just going to be so great for a whole bunch of different assets. Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, XDC, right? That's central bank money, right? 2% for a central bank is a lot of money flowing right into crypto. That's going to be amazing. Amazing. Packing my bags now, bro. I don't trust them. Who's the trust that you don't trust? BlackRock? I mean, like, because, like, really, when we really think about it, guys, all of these cryptos outside of Bitcoin and maybe Litecoin all of these cryptos have WEF ties. So all of them, like nearly all of them. Ethereum, um, Cardano, Polkadot, um, Chainlink, Avalanche. Like, look at the top 100. Like, nearly all of these, Polygon, have some type of WEF ties. All of them. So when they said Great Reset, we all thought they were talking about, like, I don't know, like getting rid of people or unaliving people. But really, it seems to me like they're actually talking about money. It's the Great Money Reset. What's up, Scott? That's my guy there. Shout out. Um, People only have to Google top 50 BlackRock holdings to see how much they already have in the US market. It's pretty freaking scary. I know, bro. I know. And if you look at all of their ETFs, to Todd Malik's point, they have ETFs for like China, ETFs, like they have ETFs for a whole bunch of different stuffs, like globally. It's crazy. 52 years since Nixon ran off the plug. Yep, 52 years. And I was talking about this in one of the conspiracy pods I was in today. Just a little bit of digression, y'all, and I'm going to end up talking about this in a conspiracy pod at some point. So we got 52 weeks in a year, 365 days in a year, right? So this is going to be real random, but I'm going to go through it right quick. So I know how Jay-Z is like a master mason, right? And like possibly, quote unquote, I know it's like tinfoil hat or whatever, right? Illuminati, right? Um, it's just crazy that number 52, right? Um, so I don't know if you guys ever heard the song "Dirt Off Your Shoulder," but let me see if I can grab lyrics right quick. But anyway, he mentions like 52 in the album a lot. Like he talks about like 52 cards, right? So it's very interesting. So we got 52 or hound. So it's very interesting that a deck of playing cards, there are 52 playing cards, right? And they're divided into, like, if you did the numerical values of playing cards, with the ace being 1 and a king being 13, that all numerically in a deck of playing cards, they add up to 365, right? So 52 playing cards add up to 365. Where else do we see that? Days of the week, right? And years, 52 weeks, 365 days. Same as a deck of playing cards. It gets kind of crazy when you think about it, because also we have 4 seasons, right? And they have 4 suits in a deck of playing cards. So I don't know what type of magic they're working on with playing cards and why it adds up to the same amount as a year, but clearly there's something going on there. And clearly people like him understand that, John. But anyways, let's move on. My opinion equals my truth. Like that gets to be a little sketchy sometimes because I know people hate the whole my truth thing. Um, I try to show you guys facts with my opinion. So yeah, we won't touch that either. Moving on. Gensler knows what he's doing. He's trying to rise politically. Well, I don't know if he knows what he's doing and he's trying to rise politically. It just seems to me like, okay, this guy who's taught crypto and really understands crypto, why would he be against it? And he's this former Goldman Sachs banker, and Goldman Sachs is a part of this R3 Cordia thing. Like it really doesn't seem to me like it just seems to me like he's playing a role. Like what is it? What's the phrase? Like nothing unites people like a common enemy. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, okay, just give him as a common enemy for the people for crypto. Like it just seems off to me. It seems like, okay, this one dude is doing all of this and nobody can control him. It just doesn't sound right to me. Um, Especially given the power of some company like BlackRock, who says they want tokenization and that they're gonna have a Bitcoin ETF and all of this. Like, kind of seems to me like, it just seems to me like, okay, he's just playing a role. Um, at this point, anyone not in possession of a tinfoil hat or do rag is not to be trusted. 100%. 100%. If you're out there thinking like, okay, yeah, like yeah, 100%. I'm not gonna say something more on that, but 100%. I'm just not sure why Democrats have taken this anti-crypto stance. They probably think their boomer votes will like it. Well, okay. So for me, and I think a lot of people, and I hope I don't lose viewers or stuff over this, but I just try to take a step back and view things from an objective point of view. I think that Democrats and Republicans are just two sides of the same coin. I think they're just a control tool. They're just a control tool that makes people um, not agree. Okay, and the way I say that is chocolate, vanilla, choose. Okay, choose chocolate or vanilla. Which one you want? Like Democrat, Republican, choose. Okay, the person with the real power there is the person who said chocolate, vanilla, choose. Maybe I just have too much chocolate and vanilla ice cream and I want to get rid of my inventory, right? So I'm telling you to choose chocolate and vanilla. I don't care which one you choose. As long as you buy all of the ice cream, I can like I'm fine. Democrat, Republican, choose. I don't care how you fight over whichever side I told the Republicans to get or whichever side I told the Democrats to get. Long as you don't get together and get me off of my power, I'm fine with it. Fight. I don't care. Democrat, Republican. I don't care which side you pick. As long as you don't band up together and get this free money I get out of your taxes off of me. Like as long as I get to stay in power up here, I don't care which one y'all choose. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the thing for me. Like and I think people miss that. I think people miss that. And they get so hung up on the Democrat and Republican thing. Now I've just divided the one advantage that people could have to hold me, the person who's in power, to what I say that I'm going to do. I've now split you I've divided and conquered you in a way that you will not talk to that Republican if you're a Democrat. On the other hand, you will not talk to that Democrat if you're a Republican. I've split you in half. Now, if you even go into the sub arguments like crypto or not crypto, you know, there's so many other things that I'm not, pro life, not pro life. I can say that one, right? Um, like I divide you in all these different issues so that, okay, you're so divided even within your own party that you'll never challenge me. You'll never challenge the people in power because none of you can agree to agree or to agree to say, okay, all right, it's been 8 years. No matter if this person or that person was president, stuff's not getting better for me. So we're gonna get rid of all of you, and we're gonna do it ourselves. No, we'll never get to that point, and that's how they like it. That's how I feel. Yeah, BlackRock. BlackRock and the U.S. government are one and the same. I would say that BlackRock is the true president of the United States of America, to be honest. And all the blue red stuff is just theater to make people not hold the people in power to what they say they're going to do. They love money. They may let it run up. Yes. However, even with money, there are cycles, right? It just so happens with the money we have now, everything is inflationary. So that cycle of that money has been gold standard, and since the gold standard, down, right? However, with Bitcoin, which is so lucky, we have the 4-year cycle. So we know that every 4 years, and there's cycles within that cycle, which I kind of let's look here. I kind of broke that down a little bit. Um, so I was kind of looking at this, right? So we got a halving. Let's even. We got the halving back here, right? And I'm sorry if this is kind of weird to see, but I'm going to try to break it down. We have the 4-year cycles, right? Boom. So I'm breaking it from halving to halving. We got 4-year cycles, right? We have bullish years for those 2 years, right? And then we have bearish years for 2 years. In this most recent cycle, we had bullishness from like May 11th all the way to like November 20th. Okay. So that's about a year and May. May is the fifth month, 11. So a year and a half. So for a year and a half, we had bullishness, which was a lot more time than what we had the last 4 years. For the last 4 years, going back, we only had bullishness for May here, December here. So 6 months. So 6 months here, a year and a half. A year and a half is 18 months. So it tripled. So 6 months here, 18 months here. Okay. So maybe coming up in this next cycle, we're bullish for what's 3 times 18. I don't know, maybe we're bullish for longer than that. but at least we can say maybe a year and a half we're going to be bullish this next coming cycle coming up, possibly, right? But we can clearly see there's like a bullish time and a bearish time. Bullish time, bearish time. Right after that November, everything just kind of fell off until we reached the 23rd, and it seems like we're heading back towards a bullish time, right? And where would the next halving would be? Copy, paste. The next halving is somewhere right approximately somewhere over here. So when do we start this where we're pulling up? Seems like we kind of already did, right? If you look at where we were a year from this, 4 years from this, it's right here. So perhaps we're going back to that slow burn time until we get back to the halving, right? Maybe we are. I don't know. But we do have this as a precedent to go off of, right? What happened 4 years ago? Well, 4 years ago, we kind of went all the way down, which is kind of, we don't know too, because right here where it dipped all the way down when it seemed like it was going up, right here is Rona, right? So that was a black swan event. It could have kept going. So here we really don't know. We really need to watch in this like February to November area, like what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Will it kind of take off before the halving? We really got to watch that area, but I think this kind of really breaks it into sections and sub cycles in that 4 year cycle where we can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on. I don't know. Let me know if that seems helpful. Let me escape this. Go back here. If we can figure out the motivation why Democrats have taken this position, we'll uncover the example. I think, again, like I just think the Democrats are playing their role. Because if you look now at the presidential candidates or whatever, Robert Kennedy is supposedly like he's for Bitcoin. But then you look on their side, Ron DeSantis is pro Bitcoin. Like, I'm not sure that we should focus really on the Democrat or Republican side of things and be more of a thought of, hey, in 2025, digital, like central banks are buying crypto. So does it matter really who's president? I don't know. I don't think so, really. I just know that, okay, come 2025, central banks are buying crypto. Um, but let's say that it mattered who the president was. Whoever the president ends up being, if they make it hard for crypto, which I don't think they'll make it hard for at least Ethereum, right? Because we've already been over what the plan is for Ethereum. Let's say that they make it hard for crypto in the United States. Hell, then maybe we have to move. Okay. Maybe for us to take full advantage of our crypto, we'll have to move. Um, Shout out to Simon Family Investments. They're in Mexico. Maybe we consult them. Maybe we move to Mexico. If they really make it that hard for crypto in the US, then maybe we move to Mexico, right? Because they're a BRICS nation. They are a BRICS nation. Maybe we do move to Mexico. Maybe that's what we have to do to take full advantage of our crypto. But more to know is that central banks globally will be buying crypto in 2025. So despite Democrat and Republican thing, no matter who the president is, no matter if crypto is accepted here in America or if it's not, globally, it seems crypto is heading to be the replacement for the new money reset. So, regardless of what happens here in America, our crypto investments will mean something in 2025. So, just to take it away from the Democrat and Republican thing a little bit, like, regardless of who the president is, if we have to stay here or not, crypto will be valuable come 2025. And I think that's the biggest point to focus on. I don't know. Could be wrong. Love to hear what you think, guys, there. But to me, that's the biggest point to focus on. And all the other stuff is noise. Come 2025, central banks are buying crypto. Right? So if I gotta move, if I gotta go down to Mexico, get a little, pay the Simon Family Investments for a little bitty consultation, so they can tell me the best part of Mexico, so I'm not, worried about safety or anything like that. Boom, I'm doing that. Yeah, after Gensler's term, I'm sure they're going to take care of him. I'm sure they're going to take care of him. He might even go work for BlackRock after this. Who knows? They're going to take care of him nicely for playing his role of the villain. He's going to be fine. If he gets fired or whatever, like, hey Gary, you played a likable villain, or the villain we love to hate, right? You did good. You did good. Go over here, enjoy this island. All right. Um, Republicans and Democrats, bingo, two sides of the same coin. What's up, Earthman? They are used to make us think our vote counts. That's it. The illusion of control. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this because they're so deeply rooted in this. But really understand, these people party at the same parties. Like, both sides of the coin made money with this with this, you know, with this arm visitor, the arm visitor. Both sides, Trump, Pelosi, all of those guys invested in stocks like AstraZeneca. All sides did that. So it's not just one or the other. So I know people hate to hear that. And I went from like 25 people to 20. I know people hate to hear that, but it's really the truth. I don't know what to say other than that. If people are mad about that, like, you really just need to look a little deeper. Just look a little deeper. Divide and conquer the original tokenization, 100%. 100%. So, like, think about it. You have way more in common with another person than you do with the people who are just able to print money, whether they be Democrat or Republican or whatever, right? So, using this chocolate vanilla analogy, who in the World Economic Forum scheme would be the Willy Wonka? Well, you know what? Using the chocolate vanilla analogy, the World Economic Forum, they're the ones making the choice. They're the ones who say chocolate vanilla choose. They give you the choice. They don't care which one you choose because they control both sides. They would be the one doling out the choice. Like, okay, Democrat or Republican, choose DeSantis or Kennedy, Trump or Hillary, or you know what I mean? They're the one who's doling out the choice. But in the end, they're in the background. They don't care who you choose. It's still going to go the way that they want it to. Well, like, okay, chocolate vanilla choose. I don't care. Buy the chocolate vanilla. It's both my inventory. I don't care. While you're worried about what the choice is, I'm going to stay in power. While you're fighting over, like, no, vanilla's the best. No, chocolate's the best. What are you talking about? Who wants chocolate? Are you so dumb? You would pick chocolate, not vanilla? Like, while you're fighting over that, I'm still in control and I still get to do what I want. Oh, come on, come on down, bro. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know what you're saying there. Um, Todd, let's see. Any any alpha on what's up, Stan? BRC20. Um, BRC20 is going to be nice because they're putting NFTs on chain, and eventually what that I think that means is like tokenization of assets. Um, BlackRock has already told us how they want to tokenize assets. BlackRock and JP Morgan have told us how they want to tokenize assets, right? And we see that tokenization of assets. We see that coming forth in companies like Energy Web Token, in where they're going to tokenize energy assets and put them on the blockchain. So ERC20, BRC20, LTC20, all of these different things, they really make way for tokenization of assets in a way that the assets are actually on chain and they're representative of this one thing. It's like essentially think about like baseball cards, how you're really making paper into this like really huge asset because you've endowed it with the picture of Michael Jordan, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's making this one, you're tokenizing this one thing, and you're making it representative of something that's worth way more. Um it gives the ability for like supercharged derivatives. So like, yeah, I think that's going to be big for like all those different platforms. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, all the ones that are like kind of forks of Bitcoin. That's going to be huge for them. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. He's the big villain. Everybody dislikes Gensler right now. Even people who don't like crypto, I don't think they like him right now. It's hard to take a Democrat versus Republican stance, even with Kennedy running for president, because his backers are Steve Bannon and Mike Flynn. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Like, I get it. I get it. And it's I get it. And they make it real easy. They like pick subjects that are really triggering for people. Like, pro-life, pro-choice. They pick things that are really triggering, where people really feel like they only have two, like they're only two options, but they're never only two options. They're never only two options. Like the arm thing or the non-arm thing. So they made us believe that it's either like you're unalive if you don't take the arm thing. Like that's the only choice. You're either unalive or you don't. What about preventative maintenance? What about distancing yourself? What about vitamins? What about health care? Or taking like exercising? What about all those different things? Chocolate vanilla chews. What about pecan, butter pecan? What about pistachio nut? What about Neapolitan? There's so many other choices. There's never only just two choices. There's never only just Democrat or Republican. But that's the magic in the number two, that you can make people like, when there are two choices, you can make people fight over one or the other. That's the magic of that. That whole question. Chocolate, vanilla, choose. One side is just going to choose chocolate, one side's going to choose vanilla, and they're both going to fight. That's the magic of that whole number thing. That two option thing. They're never just only two choices. Never. And then they wrap it with truth. They wrap it with truth, right? But that's a whole another question. That's a conspiracy in crypto question. Are cryptos are the cryptos untouched by the SEC darlings? For example, Hedera. Stan, very good, very good question there. Yes, yes, they are. And you'll notice that there are cryptos untouched by them, like Ethereum, right? Ethereum doesn't really get mentioned in this whole like XRP thing, right? They're finally now talking about how they gave Vitalik Buterin in the past, but what doesn't get mentioned is Ethereum's controlled by J.P. Morgan Chase, right? Doesn't get mentioned. It's just like, you gave Ethereum a free pass, but why did you give Ethereum a free pass? Because they're J.P. Morgan's darling. Hedera, for instance, controlled by or governed by Boeing, Google, T-Mobile. So honestly, those are the cryptos that you probably should be looking to really accumulate, because they're global world darlings, like Hedera, right? Like Ethereum, like Ripple, like XDC, like Algorand. But what they would make us believe is that like Algorand is this security, right? Mind you, and none of this have they mentioned Stellar, right? Have they mentioned Stellar at all in any of this? XLM? So XLM and the Hedera, right? Have they mentioned Litecoin in any of this? Right? Just something to think about. Glad you brought that up, Stan. 100%. Litecoin, XLM, Stellar, and Hedera have not been mentioned in any of this, right? And of course, we know what Stellar has been doing, right? We know what Stellar has been doing. They're part of the CFTC, but what we also haven't mentioned in a while Stellar is doing the CBDC for the Ukraine. So stuff like that. I had an article on that where it's like, okay, there it is. Ukrainian CBDC progressing during the wartime, Stellar CEO says. So they're just doing quite fine. Quite fine. Nobody's mentioning them as a security. Still under development. And if they're going to be the Ukraine, like if the Ukrainian CBDC is going to be on their network, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when in 2025 central banks can buy 2% exposure to crypto? What are the cryptos you think they're going to buy first? Probably the cryptos that have these CBDCs on them. Probably the cryptos that have a global presence, like a Bitcoin. Those are probably the things that they're going to gobble up. And eventually, they probably move from 2% exposure to more exposure to more exposure. It's right there, bro. It's right there, bro. What's up, Smithology Project? Yes, sir, you're right, in my opinion. Neither of these parties are for the people. None are truth tellers. It just doesn't seem like that to me. Yeah, bro. I might have to go to Mexico. Might have to become an expat. Come on down to Mexico, bro. Yes, and they went to the same private schools, 100%. That's the thing. Like they go to the same private schools. They're part of the same secret societies. They go to the same colleges. You know, Skull and Bones, right? Um, what's the other society? There's Skull and Bones, and there's one other one, but like 100%, they're part of the same club, same everything. But we're so convinced, like they have us so discombobulated that we're like, oh, can't those Democrats can't trust them. Those Republicans can't trust them. While they continue to stay in power, continue to get all the tax money, continue to get the breaks on um, knowing like which companies are going to be a part of the arm thing, right? They made millions off of that. And the companies that they wanted to make money in the whole Rona aspect, like the Amazons, the Walmarts, the Krogers, the huge companies that they and their friends own, made so much money. Well, who got screwed? Small business owners, right? So, like the little people, us, the people who are fighting over the D and the R thing, right? Just saying. Just saying. Yep, same bird, different wing. Yes, Earthman, I have looked at Clever. Clever seems really cool to me because they're based out of Brazil. That's another kind of BRICS nations company or country. Um, yeah, I like Clever. I like Clever a lot. Um, They have an exchange. They're built on Tron. Tron, Tron has that digital yuan thing. They have like a stable coin that's locked to digital yuan. There's a lot to like about Clever. But when Clever will move, we might have to wait a while for it. But I do like Clever a lot. But we may have to wait until the next bull run for it to really, really move. I thought it was a trust, but they filed for. Oh, you're running late. No problem, Metaverse President. It's They want it to be an actual ETF. They never had a trust. Um, it was Grayscale who had the trust, and they still have the trust. But Grayscale was denied by the SEC. And it seems like to me that they were denied by the SEC because BlackRock wanted to do their own. So BlackRock will probably be allowed to, and Grayscale will probably still have to wait. That's the thought. So yeah, Grayscale was the one that had the trust. Okay, so yeah, it says here that they BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust will use Coinbase custody as its custodian, according to a U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. But the U.S. regulator has yet to approve any applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs. So I guess it is a trust, but they want to turn it into an ETF, same as Grayscale. Where is that Grayscale comment? Yeah, so SEC rejected Grayscale Investments application last year to convert its flagship spot Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETF, but I doubt that they actually block BlackRock. I said that's so wrong. I doubt that they actually block BlackRock. They'll actually back them and actually give them the ETF. Oh my God. Try saying that 3 times fast. Oh, bro, I know. I know. That's why that's why I can never get like I know, bro. I gotta calm down with it. Keep it for Rokfin. I really do. That's a good point, Todd Malik. That's a really good point. Um, Making node plays and owning some of these crypto nodes in the future will be like owning real estate and being an ISP at the same time. I agree. I agree. I just have to find the right node. I think DAG might be a good node, especially at the price the DAG is right now. Um, I think we're under 3 cents with DAG right now, and we already know that they got DoD Department of Defense stuff going on. So a DAG node might be a really good buy at this point. Oh, they're back over 3. Like for the last couple of days, these guys were over. They were at 20, 28 something. And this was something I did put on the list of the Patreon. So shout out to the patrons. 28 to 0.031 is definitely a nice little move. Shout out to the patrons. But yeah, still DAG anything under 6 cents is a pretty good buy for DAG. Because if you look here, this is the lowest it's been in 3 years. But if we just take this and hike this line up. Come on. Okay, so maybe it won't let me do that. I'll copy it and make a new line. Or maybe not. Okay, so let me just draw this one. There we are. Oh. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Well, anyways, what I was trying to do is draw a line at 6, and you can see like majority of the time it's over like 6 cents. Well, at least I guess you can draw here at like 4. The majority of the time is over 4 cents. So I guess 4 cents would probably be the best bet of this. But if we come out and look at last bull run, this thing was as high as 45 cents. And you got to believe whenever they decide, or when they really truly say what these things, what they're doing for Department of Defense, it's probably going to go over $1 at that point. But yeah, this seems like a good one to like really get a note on. But I know they're really expensive, and I think they did something where like they can have, like, you could buy a less expensive node. So I really need to look into that. What's up, Nerd Up Marv? Peace. You know what? I gotta look at Dragon. My guy Dion was real heavy on Dragon, and shout out to him. Shout out to NYC Network. He brought those guys on Dragon. So I heard that they have like good patents and whatnot. So that might be one to really look into. I haven't really did that much of a deep dive into them myself. I'm going to have to. But shout out to Dragon, and check out their interviews on MYC network. Pretty cool. Yeah, I had to do some deep diving into those guys. Pretty cool show today, guys. A lot of interaction. I really love it. Shout out to Crypto Warriors. Shout out to the Black Root Crew. Again, thank you guys who've all made it around to the end. Very interesting show. Hopefully, I haven't said too much on the show. And hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys on Tuesday on my channel. Tuesday at 6-ish, around 6-ish. So thanks so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Let me it's MYC Network. MYC. Check him out. I think he brought them on more than once too. I'll spell it in the chat here. So yeah, check him out. He brought those guys on. But yeah. Yep. So catch me on Tuesday, guys. We're doing the show Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good one, guys. Peace.